All right, y'all. Give it up for my son, TJ, for helping out, man. Come on, y'all. I tell him, I said, you got to sit in on some shows, man. You can't, don't do that. I need you to come through at some point. Come through and give the, what is it? You are millennial, TJ? What are you? Okay, so between Z and millennial. Okay, there it is. There it is. Late millennial, early Z. Under 30. So that's what it is. Look. It's just 26, right? 26. That's right. So whatever that is, guys. Ladies, come get some TTL media money. Joking. You don't want that. You can do better working at Walmart. Hey, I'm sorry. My bad, guys. We got to get into the show. I tell you, man. I mean, I got a right to be happy. We got 185,000 subscribers, man. That's something. I can't, these people don't come on my show. I don't have friends anymore because I'm too critical of the Democrats. It's hard to get guests. So it's what it is, man. It's just me and you. And my 185,000 subscribers. We're going to talk about the forest fires, the wildfires in LA. Got to have that conversation. Got to continue that conversation because so many people came out. They came out to defend the Democratic Party. Guys, I want to talk about the TikTok ban. I do want to talk about that. But I think I got so much to cover with the wildfires. I don't want to dilute the two. But I just want, until I do my segment on the TikTok ban, the possibility of it, because it hasn't happened, I do want to send a shout out to anybody on TikTok that, look, I feel your pain, real talk. And if you're a news person, and reach out to me and we'll see if we can do something together to kind of get your feet under you as you transition to another platform. But, I can't take Democrats that are just like, yeah, you got to be independent. Can't be a Democrat. Okay, cannot be a Democrat. So people put the word out that if there are TikTok people who have been left flat-footed, man, who just got punched in the stomach, who feel like their whole thing is going to hell because of TikTok and what's happening with the U.S., hit me up at tim@timberlighttv.com. That's if you're an independent. And that's important. But that's it. Okay? And we can work something out, man. I'll bring you on and we'll do a show together, whatever. You'll be a guest and it can help kind of get you started over here on YouTube. All right, give it up for that. You guys ready? Let's do this. I need everybody to think for a moment about what's happened, about these fires. I want you all to consider that this is a big deal. It's a really big deal to people's lives. Did you know the latest updates on the fire? That at least 24 people have died in the result of that fire. I don't hear much people talking about the death. I don't hear them talking about all the lives that were lost. That's not injured. That's no longer on earth with us. Okay? Over 180,000 residents were forced to evacuate. That's a lot of people. The emergency scale, the scale of this emergency is catastrophic. And all we've been hearing lately is a bunch of finger pointing, denial, people running from responsibility, people distracting, deflecting, and a bunch of nonsense that has nothing to do with what I just mentioned. The 24 people that lost their lives and the 180,000 people who lost where they were living. The fires impacted multiple neighborhoods, with the Palisades fire in Pacific Palisades, the Eaton fire in Altadena being the most significant. The fire burned through over 23,000, almost 24,000 acres. That's the Altadena fire. So they're still trying to handle the containment. There's still a threat of more spreading. Not really out of the neck of the woods yet. But I want you to just think about the scope of what we're talking about, because at least when I've heard these conversations, as I do my research, I'm not hearing them talk about that. I'm hearing them talk about, when I say them, I mean the liberals, the Democratic Party. I'm hearing them talk about Trump and Elon Musk and how those two people are somehow responsible for how people feel about the fire. That makes sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me at all. So that's what this tonight's show is going to be about. What I see is finger pointing. There's been a whole lot of it. Finger pointing, denial, deflection, misdirection. And to me, it's cowardice. No other way to put this. I want to go to this video here. I want people to understand. I want you to feel this, because if you've ever lost your home, you know exactly what this is. So you don't need to be reminded. You get it. But a lot of people don't know what it's like to not have their home anymore. A lot of people don't know that feeling. What the total devastation of losing everything that you own. The uncertainty of where you will be, what will happen, how will you be made whole, if you will be made whole. The uncertainty of life at that point. The instability. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I don't wish it on anybody. I don't want to just jump in and be about this side or that side. I want to acknowledge those people. But most of all, I must acknowledge those who lost their lives and the families that were left behind. The families that lost a loved one. I want to take that time, right? Because that's important. Have we been respectful? I think we've been respectful. Have we been meaningful? I'm trying. Now that we've done that, now let's drill down a little further into this cesspool that we call media. Something that I noticed, Black America, is that there are a number of entities making this about race. Yeah, they're floating this idea that if the mayor of Los Angeles was white, nobody would be blaming her. That being a Black woman makes her a target. I don't think that's true. I think lack of preparedness made her a target. And it's not just her, but she's part of the losing team. People have been taking a bite out of Gavin Newsom's ass too. But there's something very strange and peculiar going on with Karen Bass in the media, in the Democrats. And it's something they are very good at. And it's something they've been doing for a long time. And it's something that burns me up. I feel like rock. It burns me up. It burns me up. The way they hide behind Blackness. You know, we get all this talk as if they can just use us. Use our story, use our pain, use our struggle. Yes, the historic struggle of Black people in America. I will never be someone that omits that Black people have been through hell in America. We have. This is a fact. And I'm not just talking about slavery. I'm talking about Black codes and Jim Crow and moving on up to Jane Crow and mass incarceration and all the other stigmas that we faced and continue to face. But this This is about a fire. This is about 24 people losing their lives, 180,000 people being displaced. This is about mismanagement of a state and of a city with a budget bigger than most third world countries. That's what this is about. When a catastrophe strikes, leaders lead. I have not seen Gavin Newsom nor Karen Bass do much leading. All I heard is a lot of crying, pointing fingers, hiding behind blackness. Here goes an example. Here goes Reverend Al Sharpton and Jamel Hill making our ancestors angry as hell. I can only imagine.
Welcome back to Politics Nation. It has been a history-making year for black football coaches. Notre Dame's Marcus
Reverend Al and
media about this tragedy. Wildfire broke contributing writer for The Atlantic, for 50% black. Joining me now to talk about that and other topics is Jamel Hill, a contributing writer for The Atlantic and the host of the iHeart Radio podcast, Splolitics. Am I saying Splolitics right, Jamel? I think I got it right. Jamel.
You did.
Jamel, before we talk sports, I have to ask you about the wildfires raging near your hometown of Los Angeles. You've been very engaged in social media about this tragedy. One fire broke out less than 5 miles from your house before firefighters contained it. First, how are you doing? I got to ask about your mom. And how is the community holding up?
Well, you know, my mother loves you, Reverend Al. And right now, she's actually, I just got word of this, unfortunately, like an hour ago. She's actually in the hospital dealing with a medical issue that we're still waiting to figure out what's going on. And I will very much pass on what I'm sure will be your prayers and warm wishes to her.
Absolutely.
But in terms of like what things have been like here, I mean, the best way to describe it is that everybody has been on edge. I mean, I'm lucky enough to live in a neighborhood that's probably about 35 minutes from the Pacific Palisades in the Malibu area. But the way these fires are moving, they're just very unpredictable. And I live next to a state recreation area that also is surrounded by oil fields. And so when the residents over here heard about that fire, as these other fires were raging, naturally, we were all deeply concerned, in addition to receiving these evacuation warnings, both of which that turned out to be false. So it's just a very harrowing time. But I'm encouraged by the fact that the city of Los Angeles has pulled together. And I just want to take this opportunity to remind people, listen, the celebrities that lost their homes in Malibu and also in the Pacific Palisades, those have been the headlines. But I want people to understand that everybody in LA isn't a millionaire. Everybody isn't a celebrity. And there have been some other neighborhoods, other cities, Altadena, Pasadena, especially Altadena, which has one of the historically black communities, a thriving community where over 1,000 structures have been burned. And what saddens me is that because people have focused so much on the celebrity and their losses, that's allowed a lot of people to not have empathy for what's happening to people.
Okay, I want to give her credit for this because that's why I wanted to take time at the beginning of this, not because I saw this clip, because this is not the part of the clip that I saw. But I wanted to take space or make space to show my support and condolences for those people that are going through that, because she's absolutely right here. We got to call balls and strikes. She's absolutely right that there are regular working class or Americans that are not celebrities, that are not multi-millionaires that live in surrounding areas there that are very much impacted. So we're not just talking about James Woods, and it was a couple other celebrities I saw, that lost their homes. There was a couple others that were on the top of my head, but I forget exactly what they were. But there were a number of celebrities that were saying they had to leave their homes. Throw a shout out a name if you know a name. So I appreciate that from her. But this is not the part that I have a problem with. Let's keep going.
Here in Los Angeles. But there are, and that's not to say that the celebrities don't deserve empathy. Just because you're rich doesn't mean that you won't, that you deserve your home being burned down. And so there's just been this general.
Okay, let's stop right here. Now, see, it's soon. See what I go through? The moment that I'm being considerate, the moment that I try to play fair, I get her saying something that contradicts what she just said. It's not about no one deserves their home to be burnt down. You don't need to say just because you're rich, you don't deserve that. Who was that line for? Why would you need to say no one deserves to have their house burnt down, even if you have money, no one deserves that, and blah, blah. Who is she talking to right now? Rich friends like Al, who knows her so well, he can ask about her mom. It's not about good people, bad people when it comes to fires. It's about who has the money to rebuild, who has the money to just move somewhere else, who has multiple homes. That's the issue. Someone said, Tim Black, a lot of people that live in that area are nomadic because they expect fires. They have what's known as fire seasons. It's fire season. So a lot of people there who have means, out of town anyway, they know what time it is. They know it's fire season. They got out there in their Miami home or their New York penthouse home or wherever else they usually go because they have multiple homes. So when we talk about, it's not just about having money, folks, it's about having resources and options. It's not the physical possession of multiple digits in your checking account or bank account or in your investments. It's about the flexibility and the resources and stability that affords you. So Jamel Hill, for her to say, even rich people don't deserve this, it's kind of juvenile because we're not dumb enough to think anybody deserves a natural disaster. It's that some people bounce back quicker and some people don't need to bounce because they already did. Let's keep going.
Attitude that, oh, you guys are rich, you can recover. And they couldn't be further from the truth. A lot of very hardworking people have lost their homes, and many of them will not get them back. That's what people have to understand.
And the area, one of the areas you talked about was a historic Black area passed down from generations of families. But while we're talking about wildfires, you came to the defense of LA Mayor Karen Bass in the comments of a blog posted involving Khloe Kardashian on Instagram. Khloe bashed Bass. She blasted Mayor Bass for calling her a, quote, joke over her handling of the infernos. But you say she's, quote, ill-informed. What exactly is she wrong about, Khloe Kardashian? And what do you make of the reaction to the fires online, where the disaster is being blamed on everything from DEI to endangered fish?
Look, I understand part of this is natural human reaction. This is a catastrophe here in Los Angeles like no one has seen before. And automatically people want to find somebody to blame. It is what it is. But what I would encourage everybody who's watching this program right now to do, Google Khloe Kardashian and the Kardashians and water usage. You'll find some very interesting information because their family alone, the amount of water they use is so excessive that it was a news story, a big news story here in Los Angeles.
I thought you just said there wasn't a good idea to blame anyone. You just said that Khloe Kardashian, and look, I'm not capable for Khloe Kardashian. All I'm trying to do is be a little consistent here. She just said that Khloe Kardashian is wrong to blame the mayor. She just said she's wrong to blame the mayor for how the mayor responded. And of course, the mayor is not just one individual. The mayor has help. The mayor has a staff. The mayor has people that report to the mayor. When you blame the mayor, you're not blaming just the mayor. You're blaming her office. You're blaming the people under her. Karen Bass hasn't been mayor forever. but she's been mayor long enough that she should know if she has an effective staff or an ineffective staff. But it's just hypocritical as hell, which is not something you can really point out with the Democrats, because if you point out hypocrisy often, you'll get very redundant because you're going to come up against incident after incident of hypocrisy. So just be clear here. She defends Mayor Bass and says that you should not blame her, and then proceeds to blame Chloe for the fire. I can't make this shit up. This is what you do when you try to defend very rich people. And by the way, why is Jemele Hill defending a politician? I'm just asking. Why are citizens defending the politician against citizens? I know we don't think about that much. We never do. We don't usually discuss it. But I'm just saying, why is a citizen defending a government employee, a state employee that works for the citizens, against other citizens? It's just weird. When if the cop beat up on you, if a cop beats the hell out of Tim Black, I would hope that my neighbors defend me, not the cop, and say, well, hey, cops gotta, sometimes cops gotta try out their batons on people's face. It's okay, Like, I'm just saying, it's like the citizens should be defending the citizens. We should be looking at the power structure. Okay, let's keep going. Maybe I'm not making sense. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Just seems a little weird. I know how I get, okay?
So I find that her comments to call out Mayor Bass, and especially in a moment where people are just trying to survive, and you are one of the most glamorous, privileged families in this city. And so for her to call Mayor Bass a joke, it's just not the time for that. Listen, we don't know the source of these fires. It's so much information that we don't have, so much misinformation that has been allowed to really pollute this issue online. Between the back and forth between the fire department. Look, the fire chief herself said that even with however you want to frame these cuts, because the fire department did receive a raise, all right? I want everybody to understand that. There was $17 million cut from the budget. Then there was another $50 million that they received in raises and salary because they were in the process of negotiation when this city budget happened. Right. The fire chief herself said, on television, that $17 million had nothing to do with why they were unable to fight these fires. The truth is sometimes very unsexy, right, and that's what people don't like.
She's categorically wrong about that. She's absolutely categorically wrong in that statement. That's the opposite of what was said by the fire chief. The fire chief said, yeah, that $17 million would have helped. Anytime any removal of resources is a bad thing when it comes to what we have to do when we have to fight fires. That's what was said. I don't know if Jemele was covering football or basketball at the time and wasn't paying attention. Maybe she was assisting her mom. I don't know. Maybe she was DMing Al and got caught up reminiscing about the last time she was on this show, looking for ways to stay relevant, kissing ass for some Democratic candidate or something. But I'm just saying, but let's be clear, guys. We've been covering this. I've been covering this. The fire chief, Crawley, her name is Kristen Crawley. She emphatically said, under direct questioning on CBS with Norah O'Donnell, that, yes, $17 million makes a difference. For this person to say salary bump, a salary bump that I don't even know if they got, but that's not people. See, the $17 million goes to resources and equipment and personnel. Getting a raise does not increase personnel. That's a raise for the fire person. So I don't know what she's talking about. Let's let her finish up, and then we'll be able to go from pillar to post on her nonsense.
the truth is we had winds that were 100 miles an hour. The municipal water system that is not equipped to fight four to six major fires at one time, because people have to understand the same water the fire department gets is the same one the residents use. All right, so they are not. There's no water system in the country that is equipped to handle a fire of this magnitude. And that is the facts, right? And so there will be time to assess Mayor Karen Bass's performance. I don't know if now in real time, as information is coming in and as we're trying to understand that information, if now is the time. I don't judge Karen Bass.
Certainly we need to have people that's concerned, but let's have our priorities right, and let's also not come from a privileged perch and not deal with what's happening on the ground for everybody, as you said. But let's turn back to the NFL.
Yeah, let's turn back to that, because you screwed the pooch on this one, babe. You ain't say anything, Miss Hill, that was actually, I mean, you started off when you were being gracious for like 2 seconds. That made sense, but the rest of that was a bunch of gibberish. Let's correct you. You said something like, now's not the time to talk about the performance of Karen Bass. And I'd like to know, when is the time exactly? When the narrative is switched and it's not her fault? I think that's probably the time you think it would be adequate. See, I think it's adequate for people that are, impacted by what they feel is a lack of a dereliction of duty. When people feel like they've been neglected, when they feel like they are being devastated by what's happened, regardless of who it is, whether it's the Kardashians or the Simpsons or the Robinsons or the Daltons or whoever they are who live there. They got every right to voice their opinion and express themselves. I don't think that Jemele Hill would be on a program defending a Republican mayor. I just don't think so. I also don't think she would be on a program defending anyone or calling out rich Democrats. Yeah, so that makes it. She also said the harshest language that Khloe Kardashian used is dismissive, but she said that Karen Bass was a joke. She's a joke. Her office is a joke. They're not doing anything. That to me is very PG. That's G-rated. That's G-rated criticism. You don't want to hear what other people are saying. I mean, if you can't take someone saying, hey, Karen Bass, her administration, how they handle this is a joke. Like, that is being nice. Because what I've been hearing people say is a lot more vicious. How about MF and Joe? How about a horrible, one of the worst Mario performances since Tiffany Henyard? Okay, so look, hey, she says we don't know enough. That's another point. Miss Hill says we don't know enough right now. Like, we can't make an assessment. Hey, people do know that the fire could have been contained better. That did you know that there are 62? The police chief has asked for 62 more fire stations. 62. And that they were not put in place. Do you not know that there were hundreds, if not thousands, I think it's called police apparatuses fire department apparatuses. And according to one of my commenters, this apparatus is the breathing equipment and other tools that firefighters use in order to go in and fight fires that aren't working, that are not there to be used at this time. Then there was the laying off of mechanics who service these equipments. The list goes on. So what I'm saying is there are things that were missing that if they were in place, they would have been able to be more responsive to the fires. And you know what? I don't much care if Karen Bass is on the hot seat. This happens. Sometimes you get the short end of the stick. Sometimes you step in it. Sometimes it ain't your fault, but a bad thing happens and you're in the spot and it's your job to mitigate it, solve it, work through it. And instead of solving it and working through it, you know what Karen Bass did? She ran to Africa. Now, I don't know if this was a pre-planned event or if this was an emergency travel that she needed to do. But like I said before, in LA, this is called the fire season. Fire season. Karen Bass went on vacation during the fire season. I've been hearing people complain about Trump, how much time Trump spent golfing. I've heard people complain about Biden, who spent more time than Trump out of the office. It is Delaware, whatever spot. People complain about that all the time. What you should not do is be out of pocket during a potential natural disaster time for a new mayor, and she was. In fact, the only worst mayor that I can think of that comes to mind right now is Brandon Johnson out of Chicago. But that guy sucks. But what I'm hearing about Bass is not good. It's not good at all. And this is not because she is a black woman. This is because her performance sucks. You know what would have been great is if Karen Bass would have stepped in front of the cameras, stepped up, and been a leader here. That's all I want to see. And if she did that, if she stepped up and said, hey, I'm a leader. I'm going to lead this. I'm going to resolve this. I won't sleep. I won't take a break. We're going to stay on top of this. And spoke in a way that gave people confidence and then moved in that direction. People are not seeing her activity, her disposition, and actual effective, tangible results that she is asserting anything, that she's got her arms around it, that she's moving forward. Instead, I saw a clip where the reporter was asking her about what she was going to do, and she was silent for 3 minutes. Or worse, she does this.
The way they are moving, the unpredictability of how they're moving, the swiftness with how they're moving, you are not going to outrun these fires. If you stay, you're going to die in them, and it's not worth it. So if you're told to evacuate, get the hell out. Save yourselves. You can rebuild because we are going to rebuild. We also, I think, have to be mindful of the risks that will follow these fires, and that is when the rains come. And the risk of mudslides. So I say,
I'm trying to figure out what Karen Bass is smiling about. There's I don't know, maybe I'm tripping, but describing how people need to evacuate and how people can lose their lives, I don't know what there is to smile about. Do you see anybody else smiling in that video? If you saw someone talking about an event that costs the lives of 24 of your citizens, you're the mayor, these are your people. Would right now be a time to be smiling on camera while people are around you looking glum and glum? She's the only one with a smile on her face. Nobody else is smiling. Does that sound like, or does that appear to you? Be fair. Come on, be fair. Does that seem like somebody who has all their dishes in the sink? Does it? It don't sound like somebody who's got all their dishes in the sink. I'm sorry. Some of them dishes is left on top of the nightstand in your son's room or your daughter's, under the bed of your daughter's bedroom. Something's going on. Some of the babies must have threw them in the trash along with their plates. That's what they do sometimes. I had to buy so many forks and spoons, Jesus Christ. But you understand what I'm saying. Once again, folks, who does this? What would you call somebody that's smiling at a press conference about the dead? What would you call this person? What would you call somebody smiling at a press conference about evacuations and mudslides, the potentiality of mudslides? What would you call somebody who did that? I don't know. A joke? Oh, but you're not supposed to say that. Look, this is how this works, y'all. Whenever a black man is calling out a black woman, There are people, particularly black folks, that want to say that black man's gone too far. He shouldn't do it. But guess what? Ain't nobody else going to do it, man. And I'm calling it out on behalf of us. You understand? Because the collective of black people, we're more important than one singular black woman who's not doing her damn job. Okay? So we need to move beyond just saying, well, you know, a black man shouldn't be saying this about a black woman. Well, you know what? A black woman who would do a job so badly that requires anyone to have to address her to this extent deserves all the smoke. If you're going to be smiling at a press conference like this, in this climate, after losing an election, the way you did against the Republicans, you had to know people would be coming for you. I don't think Karen Bass is ready for the job. I don't know how she got it. I know she got endorsed by a number of people. I saw a clip. I don't know what that clip is. LA Times just rescinded their endorsement of her. Not because she's black, but because the job she's doing sucks. And they should rescind their endorsement of Gavin Newsom. But I don't even know if they endorse Gavin Newsom. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So back to my point. I want to hopefully make myself clear here. I'm down for supporting a sister that supports us. How much longer, how many years you think we're going to go before there'll be another black woman as mayor of LA with the performance that Karen Bass is putting up? I think it may take a while. Do you think Karen Bass should be held accountable for that? Or if any attempt to hold her accountable for making this situation worse than it has to be, yeah, that's a problem. I think she should be held accountable. It ain't my job to defend her. I don't work for her, but I can tell you this, I do work for us. And if I'm working for us, I'm going to call out anyone who does shit like this. It is a righteous call out. I'm not talking about her family. I'm not disparaging her name. I'm not dragging her through the dirt. This is not a Charleston White rant. But this is saying, what the hell, folks? What the hell is so funny? Now, if she was a white woman smiling, while the residents, as Al just described, black folks in Altadena had to evacuate and leave all their shit behind, we'd all have a problem about it. We'd all be pissed. We'd be like, who is this heifer up on this nag? But since it's Karen Bass, we got Jamel Hill up here running defense, running offense, running interference. Well, I say, as long as we had a Democratic Party using blackness, defending the worst actions by throwing blackness in front of it and saying, but she's black, I think we need to call it out. You know what? It's going to be my job. Part of my job. That's part of my job. It's not my whole job, but it's part of my job. Because when you take advantage of and use my historical pain, the historical pain of my ancestors, of my family, my friend, my forefathers, in order to ingratiate yourself, in order to defend yourself when you haven't done the damn job, you don't get to do that. Always throwing up that mess about black people died, so this, so that, so the other thing, when it serves them. You know what else? Black people died not to be mocked during death by actions like this by a heifer that can't even have a straight face at a press conference about the worst natural disaster in the history of Los Angeles. What kind of training do you need to know now's not the time to how hard is this? How hard is it to do that? All right, let's keep going. Yeah, I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started here, folks. But since we're moving right along, guys, hit the like button. Hit the like button if anything I say makes sense. You don't defend black people who are doing the wrong thing that are hurting black people. That's all I'm saying. That's my point. And to that point, and this is one of the reasons why I get so pissed off with the Democratic Party. Because that's what they do. They use Karen Bass. They don't give a damn about Karen Bass. They care about the Democratic Party. As long as they can use her to deflect away and say any criticism of how Los Angeles handled these wildfires, they'll use her and put her out front. Case in point, The View. You already know. I watched the clip of The View, portion of it, with Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Hostin, in particular, defending Karen Bass from any criticism. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Let's start with this. Right now, responders are desperately trying to contain the wildfires ravaging Los Angeles. A lot of officials are scrambling to find answers and fighting back against misinformation. Take a look.
This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water.
That mayor of LA, if that were a Republican mayor, I could only imagine what that would do. I mean, you know the fires are at high risk and you try to go to Africa?
Your governor is gutless and your mayor's gutless. They need to throw them all out. But will they do it? I doubt it. I doubt it. They'll figure out some way to blame this on Donald Trump.
There was a serious lack of competent governance in California, and I think it's part of the reason why these fires have gotten so bad.
Actually, here's what Governor Gavin Newsom has had to say about all of this. Watch.
We had my team start talking to local leaders, saying what's going on. Our state,
and you weren't getting straight answers from
I
the
was
local
getting
leaders.
different answers. We're in this emergency environment and everything else. So I just want to determine the facts, but no one has any patience anymore. In this weaponized, back to the grievance of Trump, everyone else, people, there's immediacy, and lies travel the proverbial world, and it's hard to get the facts out.
I don't know what he's referring to when he talks about the Delta smelt in reservoirs. The reservoirs are completely full, the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us.
Here's how this works. There was a fire catastrophe in California. Had to do with winds. You know how they're always saying, oh, the wind. It actually does. The winds move things and sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have if 900,000 buildings go up at the same time. Now, having lived in California, having lost every house save for one that we ever lived in, I take great offense at pointing fingers. You should be pointing fingers about how can we help?
Yeah.
It's too soon to be saying, oh, it's Gavin's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's like us taking seriously that there are, you know, magic lasers in the sky that direct the weather. That doesn't work. It doesn't happen. This is a catastrophe, and this is what's happened. And let's try to figure out how.
Let me get this right. Now, this is Whoopi's claim now. I will say, there's nothing that Karen Bass or Gavin Newsom can do about the wind. Yeah, the wind, they don't control the wind. Okay. Here's what they do control. Karen Bass controls going to Africa during fire season. Just saying. Folks, you get a new job. You get a new job, and biggest job of your life. And there's, say you're a retail manager, you're running a store. You're running a store, major department store. You just got promoted. You just got the job last year. The audit season's coming. It comes around every year. We know, in this month, every year, we have these problems. You decide. Do you decide, I'm going to leave the country during this time? Or do you say, hey, maybe I'll leave another time? And let's say you say, screw 'em. I'm the boss. I can do what I want. and you leave the country, if while you're gone, the audit goes to crap, do people have a right to call you out about it? Do people get to say you don't look like a serious person? I think they do. I think most people would fire your ass when you got back. That's just normal stuff. We all have had jobs. You've had a job, I've had a job. This is what people expect of you. They don't expect you. They don't expect Karen Bass to have resolved every issue that may come up in the audit, but you need to be there, accounted for, in the front, leading the charge to correct the problem. That's the point. Of course, that's not logical enough for Whoopi. That's too logical. That's too logical for Whoopi. That is finger pointing. That is too early to say people should be in their job when it's time to be in your damn job. It's too early to say that. We can't say that. We get to blame the wins. No, of course, Karen Bass is not responsible for the wins, but she's responsible for the loss. That's how that works. And so is Gavin Newsom. And so is everyone. And when I say that, I'm talking about the response. You're not responsible. The preparedness is what you're responsible for. If there were 62 of those fire stations that were requested, if those were open, if the fire hydrants were empty, all these things, if the equipment was there and you provided it, and let's say you did all of that and still there's catastrophic damage because this is an unprecedented event, the worst we've ever seen. Let's say that happens. Guess what you can do? People need to see you out front. People need to see you engaged. They need to see you busy. They need to hear you making clear, solid responses to the issues. That's what people need to see. That's what they would expect from you. You know what people do not want to see? Let's see if we can find this here. I shouldn't have to go too far. Should I? I'm going further than I thought I would have to go. Let's think about this. Well, okay.
Let me be clear. The $17 million budget cut and the elimination of our civilian positions like our mechanics did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus. So let me be clear. The $17 million budget cut and the elimination of our civilian positions like our mechanics did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus. So with that, we have over 100 fire apparatus out of service, and having these apparatus in the proper amount of mechanics would have helped. And so it did absolutely negatively impact. I want to also be clear that I have, over the last 3 years, been clear that the fire department needs help. We can no longer sustain where we are. We do not have enough firefighters. With that, I have also requested multiple budgets, interim budgets, to show how understaffed, under-resourced, and underfunded the LEFD is. So with that, also, we have clear data that shows the LEFD needs more help. We need 62 more fire stations. These reports also show that we've had a 55% increase in overall call volume since 2010. And guess what? We're doing it with less firefighters. I was also directed to develop a plan as part of a budget reduction exercise, and that could equate to $48.8 million. And I rang the bell that these additional cuts could be very, very devastating for our ability to provide public safety.
There it is. There it is. There it is. So I've been covering this extensively on this channel. Just trying to get the facts out there. Just trying to make it known what happened. It's not that it's Karen Bass or that it's Gavin Newsom. It's that this is news. And it looks like some people didn't take seriously the budget. Once again, folks, we're not talking about a state that doesn't have fires. How could you not be prepared for the one thing you know you're going to have? Fires. If you know you're going to have them, because you have a fire season, just like there's a winter season here in Maryland. Sometimes we avoid the snow, but you know what I got? I got a snow shovel and some salt to put on the ground to mitigate. I keep them in my garage. How can you justify not having at the ready what you need to save lives? Also, I saw this clip and I thought this spoke to Karen Bass. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing, frankly. I was like, this is I don't know how you get worse.
Citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Can you back up, appreciate it. Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
Now, I get it. You don't want to have to respond to this reporter. You don't feel like you should have to answer questions, but you're not answering questions to this reporter. You're speaking to the world. You're speaking to everyone who's going to see that clip. And your response to them about very important questions, and forget Elon Musk, man. Forget Elon Musk made that comment, but forget that this guy's quoting Elon Musk saying that you seem incompetent. Forget that part. You can say forget that part. Forget him. You can say that. She can say that. She can say, Skull, sit down, you rich bastard. I'm taking care of the citizens of LA. I'm doing the best I can. We're wrapping our hands around it. We want everybody to know help is on the way. We're on top of this. I'm using the full extent. I'm working with the president. I'm working with the governor. I'm using all the resources that are available to us to mitigate this disaster. My thoughts and prayers are, she said nothing. You saw it. There is no accountability.
No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Now, I'm just a person just like you are. My first clip that I saw about these wildfires was that clip. Whose fault is that? It's not the reporter's fault. Whoever that guy was, I don't care what his intentions are. I don't care if he's a Republican. I don't care if he's Elon Musk's buddy. I don't care who he is. It doesn't matter. It's not his fault. It is Karen Bass's fault because Karen Bass could have wrapped her arms around that moment and responded in a way to keep the fire off her ass. But instead, she went stone-faced. And also, what else is something else I noticed? When I pointed out the facial expression in the other press conference when she was doing this, I noticed here, no smile. This is how you look at a press conference about the dead. This face is the face. This is the face of people talking about 180,000 people losing their homes. Not this. All right. Let's go back to Whoopi and The View, make more excuses for the inexcusable.
To work towards not having it happen again, but we don't control Mother Nature. Mother Nature didn't happen. This is a catastrophe, and this is what's happened. And let's try to figure out how to work towards not having it happen again, but we don't control Mother Nature. Mother Nature doesn't give a damn what we want. Mother Nature does what she does, and if you're in the way, this is what happens. And California is chock full of people. So far, 24 lives have been lost. Evacuations continue. So What should these officials...
And what should you have started today's program off doing, Whoopi? Should you have started off defending Karen Bass? Or should you started off today's broadcast talking about those 24 people that lost their lives? Let me get this right. Tim Black, the Tim Black Show. One person operation for the most part. Right? Guess what he had the wherewithal to do? You know, because you watched it. Start off by showing condolences and my respect and my attention to those people that were hurt the most. Because that's my priority. For all I know, I got people in the audience right now watching who have families or friends who have been affected intimately by this fire. I want them to know I care about that. Now, Whoopi, she is, how many minutes into her rant? 3 minutes into her rant, and all of it was spent defending Karen Bass. That shows her priority is defending Karen Bass. You are what you talk about. No excuses. The View has many writers. They have producers and staff. They have people walking around just picking up stuff and moving it over there. Oh, I'm going to pick this up and move it over here. Oh, yeah, I need you to pick that up and move that over there. But I just moved it. You talking back? I'm going to call the union. Move that over there. They got staff to just do dumb shit. You know what else they have? You know what else they have? They have researchers. They have writers. Showrunners. And they can't get that part right. Unacceptable.
Be doing to get help or get this under control?
It should be an all hands on deck operation. In fact, Governor Newsom thanked Texas Governor Greg Abbott for sending firefighters in. Canada, Mexico, they sent people in even while we're talking about Donald Trump potentially purchasing all of these places. So I think right now, people understandably are looking to place their rage somewhere. So I don't know if it makes people feel better to point their finger, but just like North Carolina after the storm, you don't start recapping a game until the game's over. There are fires ravaging not only the land, but the count of bodies keeps going up and up. They haven't even gone and been able to see how this all started. You can't start right now doing this. Everyone should be saying, how can we help? And they should be flooding over there, whether it's money and GoFundMe accounts, whatever you can do to help.
Why would you say that when Whoopi was talking about Karen Bass instead of talking about the people that were hurt? It's your program. It's your program, Democrat lady that says she's a Republican. Why not start the program off talking about what you're saying? Why not correct Whoopi? Oh, that's right. Can't do that. Whoopi's doing the exact thing that you're complaining about. She's talking about everything else except those people until the very end. And now you want to come in like you're being sanctimonious. Now you want to come in like you are empathetic to the suffering and everybody else doesn't get it, but you get it. Nah, that's not what this program's been about. It's been about, oh, she couldn't do anything. It's the wind. And this is a catastrophe. It's a natural occurrence. There's nothing anyone can do except be prepared. Except be prepared. Except put your money where. Remember, guys, this is not a state that doesn't have fires. They know they expect to have fires. They play the game. They said, you know what? We're not stupid here. No one's stupid here. We got grown-ups watching the Tim Black Show. You know what this is? This is like someone said, hey, we don't need to have that insurance right now. We good. We good. Everything's fine. Let that lapse. We'll put the money over here. You know, we don't need to have this waterway directed towards those hydrants because right now we're worried about this species of fish. That's where that comment came from. And then you got caught with your pants down. Then you got caught sleeping on the job. Then you got caught out of pocket. You got caught lacking. That's right, folks. Mayor Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, whatever, the Land and Power, the Land, Water, and Power Administration, which controls those reservoirs, got caught lacking. Whose fault is that? Remember, they're not lacking with their own money. This is not their personal budget. It's the state of California. It's the city of Los Angeles. So they've got the money that they didn't produce. That's taxpayer money. And it's being spent other places than shoring up and being prepared for what they know is coming. They know fires are coming. They just don't know the severity of them. You don't have to be psychic to know fires are coming. If you have a calendar in order that you have fire season. So they think some people are stupid. There may be people that do watch The View lack the ability to like work through this stuff because they're full of the infection of, you know, the affliction and infection of being a View watcher. So it's kind of hard to, you know, to dodge the bullshit. But I'm just saying, let's keep it a buck, man.
But this is not the time to blame it on officials when we are.
I got a feeling the talking points went out that what they needed to keep saying is this is not the time. This is not the time. This is not the time. You know what it's not the time to do? Let's keep it real. It's not time to blame Trump for anything. He ain't president. Why Trump name even gets mentioned is why Democrats lost. He ain't in office. That ain't till the 21st, January 21st, you can start bashing him. But until then, shut up and stick to Joe. No one's mentioned Joe Biden. Whoopi brought up Trump, and now she has.
Living in a time of a lot of climate change and things that are happening. I just find it a little disturbing that you're going to actually blame a mayor, a governor. If they were standing right in that spot, the fire still would have started.
That's not the issue. The issue is the preparedness for what we know is already coming. It's being prepared. It's being ready for what you know. This is not Bigfoot coming through the door. It's not the zombie apocalypse. Okay? The fires come regularly. It's your job. Keep it. Look, had his door bolted. I'm going to the store. You know we live in a bad area, baby. Make sure the lock is on this door. Make sure you put this, when I leave this room, when I leave, put the bolt on the door. When you leave, lock this top bolt from outside. Now, we come back and all our shit is gone. And that bolt is not broken. And the windows are broken. Do I or do I not have a right to say, now this is Mrs. Black we're talking about. Baby. Why that boat not broke? How they get in here with the damn, did you put the boat on? See, it's preparedness. Preparedness.
Well, and I think first and foremost, I know we all thank the firefighters and the first responders. They've put themselves in harm's way. Where there's new warnings today that the winds are picking back up. This could continue to spread. Yeah. I think we're all praying for them. My sister was evacuated, then not. I've had friends who have lost everything.
Yeah. That's how you have to think of it. I'm sorry. Yeah. Here in New Jersey.
Why fire hydrants didn't have water.
Well, it's not that they didn't have water. The fire
politics of it. What does need to happen is at some point the accountability and the after action of what went wrong and what did we not have that we needed to have. I was frustrated, and I would hope he'd come on the show. Gavin Newsom's been a friend of the show. I was frustrated that in two different interviews he pointed to, well, the municipal authorities should have known, the local governments should have. But we live in a country where the buck stops with the leader, the governor, the buck stops with the president, and I think that he needs to have those answers. I get that you don't in real time, but there needs to. We need to know why fire hydrants didn't have water.
Well, it's not that they didn't have water. The fire hydrants had the water, just not enough to put out 9,000 burning buildings at the same time. And here in here in New Jersey, you know, if you, I say this a little bit because I'm trying to make myself giggle, but sometimes, you know, when you turn on the water to wash the dishes and somebody's taking a shower at the same time, and then you're trying to wash the dog outside, there's no water.
Yeah.
That's how you have to think of it. 900,000 things at one time looking at one spigot. That's how you have to look at it.
Can I just say one last thing? Is the LA Fire Chief Crowley, who said that they needed more resources and they didn't have them, was kind of contradicted by some folks. But I don't think there's a fire chief in America dealing with this crisis who would say that if it's not true, and that needs to be looked at. If there are not enough resources to fight the fires, then there needs to be more money going toward that.
Well, Whoopi, you're right. I mean, experts have said that it's the local water shortages happened not because there wasn't water, but because the city's infrastructure wasn't designed to respond to a fire as large as the one that happened. So you are absolutely right about that. In terms of politicizing this fire, that's what I've been most disgusted by. I was thrilled to learn that Mexico.
What does The View do, folks? What would you call what The View does on a daily basis? Politicize. That's what I call it. I call their whole job is to politicize stuff. Special stuff that helps the Democrats. And also put out fires because Republicans have politicized something against the Democrats. That's the whole purpose of this show. This is the reason why it's The View. That's their mode of operation. That's it. So, yeah, look. The Republicans take advantage of what they can take advantage of. The Democrats take advantage of what they can take advantage of. And when there's nothing to take advantage of, they just go after Trump for an hour to spend, to waste time. That's what happens. So I'm not saying Republicans aren't taking their shots at them. But at the end of all of that, you clear all the Republican nonsense away and all the finger pointing of that, and realize still, there was a budget submitted that said we needed to increase this. You kept taking from the fire department, and then a major fire happened. The worst fire that you could imagine, it took place. And guess what you were caught doing? Taking resources away from the fire department. That's it. They got caught lacking. They got caught intentionally not being prepared, assuming everything's going to be fine. And that one time that you didn't lock the door, that one time you took your eyes off, something bad happened. Let's listen to Sunny, who's facing her own challenges at the moment, notably her husband being involved in the biggest RICO lawsuit ever in New York history, from defrauding an insurance companies with fraudulent claims, allegedly. I'm surprised she even showed up to work. I'm surprised she got to work to show up too. But let's hear her talk about Mexicans coming to help.
Was sending aid, the very people that Donald Trump would like to build the wall against. Well, they must have climbed over the wall because now they're here helping put out these fires.
Look at the body language and the facial expressions. Let me get this right. People that are coming to assist the United States in a natural disaster, they should not have to go through the proper process if they want to enter our country. Did they climb the wall to come do that? Or did they fly in? Did they walk in? Did they come in the normal way that you would come in to help? Look, as a black man, as a person that's knowledgeable how immigration, whether it be legal or illegal immigration, impacts Black Americans, when you're at the bottom of the totem pole, due to historical discrimination in your own country that you built for free, I have a right to complain and be upset about illegal and legal immigration, because the issues that impact the Black community are pervasive and have been that way. The neglect the government has shown and the animosity the government has shown to Black America over the course of Black America being Black America, I get to call that out. But you should be able to say, oh, because these firefighters from Mexico came through, there's no reason to have a border wall. They're too good for us. No. legal entry into the United States is still allowed. It's illegal entry into the United States. You can't illegally enter Mexico. They don't want that shit. They don't have a structure to build an infrastructure in place for illegal entry into Mexico or Canada. They have a border, and if you're caught being illegally in Canada or Mexico, they kick you out. This whole nonsense with SETI, but just once again, like, this is the hypocrisy of these people. Look at the body language.
Thrilled to learn that Mexico was sending aid, you know, the very people that Donald Trump would like to build the wall against. Well, they must have climbed over the wall because now they're here helping put out these fires.
I hope, and I hate to say this because I don't know her husband, Manny. Manny Hostin could be a great guy, man. He might be a great guy. But just because of my dislike for her. Yeah, my utter dislike, man. I'm really tired of her BS. Like, I had enough for her, you know? I had enough for her. I hope he gets, like, indicted for it. I hope that he gets, I hope he's found guilty. I hope, I was rooting for Young Thug, kinda. I ain't rooting for Manny Hostin. Like, I hope he goes down for this, just to knock her down a peg or two. I know that's petty as hell. He ain't had nothing to do with the shit she say on the show. I understand, Mr. Hostin. But your wife is such a pain in the ass. She's such a hypocrite. Because these Mexicans came over to help us. And what these people did, let's keep going, Johnson.
Canada, who he wants apparently to be the 51st state, they are here helping us. So our neighbors have come in and helped us. And that's what should be happening. And I applaud Mexico and Canada for helping. But who I don't applaud is someone like Jesse Waters on Fox News. This is what he said. He blamed LA fires on diversity. He blamed them on California's
maybe because one was burning bright and one was darker.
I don't know.
Is that the kind of diversity?
Because he says it was unbelievable.
Folks, this is what I was talking about, and this kind of got me back to my theme about blackness. The diversity that they're talking about is not black people. Yeah, but they bring up DEI as it pertains to firefighters in Los Angeles, it ain't black people. It damn sure ain't black people, because black people are the smallest demographic of firefighters in LA. Unless you're talking about prisoners. Unless you're talking about prisoners that Gavin Newsom uses to fight fires for like $1 a day. Let's be talking about those people. Because actual firefighters, that's 70% white guys. Latinos make up about 20% of civilian firefighters in LA. Black Americans make up 3%. 3. That's less than Asian Americans. Asian Americans make up 4. So, no, we're not talking about DEI as it pertains to Black Americans, because they're failing miserably at that. They're talking about the 3 the 3 fire captains that are all named Kristen or Christina, who are all LGBTQ. That's what you're talking about. But of course, people don't know that. They just assume, they're going after the blacks. No, not this time. Not this time. All right.
I thought it was fake news. He said that California's woke politics and DEI are the reasons for the fires, because Newsom has been tearing down dams because Native Americans, but he called them Indians, wanted some of the river back so they could catch salmon. And Gavin didn't just knock down one dam for the Indians, he knocked them all down. He knocked down 4 of the dams. I'm sorry, this is stolen land, first of all, okay? California is stolen land. Second of all, that's part of what always happens.
That doesn't stop you from living there, does it? We're stolen people, we're stolen land, yada, 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 yada. Sonny Haas's family owned slaves, a lot of them, yada, 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 yada. Just small in particular things, small things called facts. Look, man, I don't know. I don't even think about the Native Americans and what water was done, what damming was done. I don't care about that. At the end of the day, we're talking about being prepared for this. And if you had to say no to the Native Americans in order to be prepared for a fire, maybe you should have had to say no to the Native Americans. Because 24 people just died, and we don't know if they could have changed anything. We have no idea. You have no way of knowing. But then no one will be able to say, hey, you didn't have the fire stations. Hey, why did you not have the resources in place? Hey, why didn't you have a backup water supply to go to if you ever run out of the initial water supply? People get to say that. They can't say that if those things are in place. Guess what? You're supposed to put them in place. That's their job. Not you, Sonny. You're the defender of anything Democratic, the Democratic Party. I'm talking about residents and people that want to knock you down because they're on the other side of the ball. They're going to point that out. They can't point it out if you had it handled. So there. Like I was saying, folks, part of the problem here, part of the problem with this whole thing is optics. And don't get me wrong, once again, Republicans are going to do whatever they got to do in order to make Democrats look bad. That's their job. And you know what? Unfortunately, it's the job of the Democrats to do the same thing. Whenever there's an issue going on in a Republican or red state, the same thing happens. It's what they do. We're tired of it. All I'm saying is, I call balls and strikes. And when there's a major catastrophe taking place, whether it be here, what about in Palisade, Ohio, when the train went off the rails? And the toxic chemicals went everywhere, okay? And a week or a couple months before that, Joe Biden stepped in and stopped the union from striking. Why? Because they didn't have enough workers. And then what happened a month later or 2 months later? Then there's a major derailment because somebody fell asleep at the wheel, because people are overworked and underpaid at that railroad station, damn near destroying a town that people live in. So we covered that too here. Once again, putting corporations ahead of people, not looking out for the worker. And then what does Biden do? He runs out and jumps in front of cameras for a union strike for the docks to make a phony attempt. So look, it is what it is. The optics, it looked horrible. It looks horrible that you're not prepared for this. But part of the other thing with preparedness is the current mass response looks bad. Okay, even if you say, hey, it's a catastrophe, it's a natural disaster, who can stop a natural disaster? No man can stop Mother Nature. I get all that. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm disagreeing with is the preparedness, the response, and then also the optics. Folks, did you hear Kamala Harris? People keep telling me that Joe Biden should have stayed in the race. People say, oh, no, we got Trump again. Yeah, you know what? Did you really want Kamala to be your president? It appears that most Americans didn't. That's why she isn't. I don't know. Could this be part of the reason why?
To be clear, we're not waiting until those fires are over to start helping the victims. We're getting them help right now, as you all know. People impacted by these fires are going to receive one-time payment of $770, one-time payment, so they can quickly purchase things like water, baby formula, and prescriptions. So far, nearly 6,000 survivors have registered to do just that, and $5.1 million has gone out.
Once again, guys, everyone loves to talk about the one-time payment as if that one-time payment solves the problem. No. People hear that. He needs to quickly be like, hey, we're also doing this. He should not let it stop. He lets the soundbite stop on this $770. Look, The average American doesn't have enough money put aside to deal with a $500 instant problem. Okay, a catastrophe or an emergency. Okay, that's where Americans are at. I don't know how Californians are living. I don't know how people in LA are living. Okay, in Altadena, in the Palisades, maybe they got the money. Maybe they're good, but they sure did take up that 770. And I'm just saying, it just optically looks bad. But Joe Biden's not even the worst at this. It's almost unimaginable that you could have a vice president that's 20 years younger, 28, 20, at least 20 years younger or something, right? Isn't she 20 years younger than Joe? How can she be less on the ball when it comes to responses? Listen to Kamala Harris.
Critically important that to the extent you can find anything that gives you an ability to be patient in this extremely dangerous and unprecedented crisis. And so it's critically important that to the extent you can find anything that gives you an ability to be patient in this extremely dangerous and unprecedented crisis, that you do.
Feel better? Feel better if the word's salad? She knew there was a camera there. She's talking to the American people. She's talking to people that are impatient, who are frustrated, who are erratic. And she says, it's important that you be patient and do whatever you need to do to quiet yourself as we work through this process. Is that what you tell people that just lost their homes or people that lost family members? Just be patient. Do what you need to do. Walk it off. Yeah, a horrible, like the whole, the sensibility behind a decision to make a jacked up this response or statement like that. I don't know where that comes from. But then to word it so poorly only adds insult to injury, man. Yeah, man, look, hey. Do me a favor. Do what you got to do to get your head right, you know, and just chill while we figure out what we going to do for y'all. That's what she said. It's for some reason, people are having a problem with other people pushing back on a whack-ass response like that. Imagine somebody said that to you. You just lost your home, and their response is, look, do us a favor. Walk your dumb ass over there somewhere. Sit down. Give us room while we figure out how we're going to deal with your misfortune. Okay? You want to punch him in the mouth. You want to punch him across the lips for that, wouldn't you? You want to suplex him. But no, you can't because she's black. See what I'm saying? And then they'd be like, oh, you're attacking the black woman. No. Look, when you put on the D uniform or the R uniform, you ain't a color no more. You're a party. That's right. You're a party. Stop saying you can't say these things because she's black. First of all, she's not black. Second of all, stop saying it. Stop hiding behind it. Stop using blackness to cover up for all your mistakes and your ill-preparedness and your word salad and your horrible leadership and your goofy sound bites and the wrong facial expression during a catastrophe and the whole mess. One good thing about Gavin Newsom is he's very white. So no one should have a problem with us criticizing it. Criticize away. Mel Gibson said he needs to spend less money on hair gel. That was good. Yeah, Americans aren't going for it. It's not that you can solve Mother Nature. It's how you respond to it. And how you respond to the people when the people need your help. That's what this is about at the end of the day. All right, guys, that's it. I'm Tim Black. You know how to reach me, Tim at TimBlackTV.com. Hit me up. Send your email, send your hate mail to your mother's house at TimBlackTV.com. We'll be back tomorrow, right? I guess we will. No? We off tomorrow? I forget. I'm busy. I take one of these days off. All I do is this show. That's it. Let's go to the comment section and see what my people say. Hey, what's up, people? Black Mama's in the house. Black Mama says you can support the channel by ordering a TBTV Legacy mug. Go to timblackmug.com. You can do that. And also, Aileen Dorsett sent me a sticker at $6.99. Thank you, Aileen Dorsett. Thank you for supporting this independent media show. I appreciate you. You're one of the few, one of the proud supporters of the Tim Black Show. Let me also give some shine to my Tim Black super members, my VIPs, whose names are running beneath here. Thank you to my VIPs right here. Those are the people, y'all. Give it up for those folks. What else? Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you guys. That's it. That's all I got on this particular topic. I just wish that at some point we stand up against these Democratic Party nonsense, these operatives, and make it very clear. You can't, if you ain't gonna help us have better lives, if you ain't gonna help our kids have better lives, if you ain't gonna institute policies that impact us specifically to better our condition, you can't stand behind us and stand behind our struggles and our pains to defend your shitty policies or to defend the criticism you may receive. That's my problem. That's my issue. Because that's what they do. They use us as camouflage. They use us as their shield. But we don't get nothing for it. I look at my mailbox, I don't have a Democratic Party shield. Check. You know? Or it's my dividend that the Democratic Party sends us every month for using us as their get out of jail free card. Because that's what they do. And I don't know why so many of us like that. They use us. We deserve better. All right, guys, that's all I got. Thank you for being here. Thank you, supporters. Thank you. Norma J for supporting this show. I appreciate you, Norma. You are the greatest. How many new members we get tonight? We get any new members? Anybody join the VIP show? Become a member of the Tim Black Wolf Pack by going to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live, or you can join right here on YouTube. Become a member, become a VIP member of this content and get exclusives. We're ramping up our exclusive content here on this channel. I think it's important. I think it's important to give back to those who give to the show. In fact, we're considering going to a model where the live streams are for the members. Yeah. We, meaning me, I am considering that. Because, yeah, I think it makes sense. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you, Buck. Thank you, Black Mamba, for what you do. Thank you, all people that support this channel. Share it with a friend. Nothing but love for you. That's right. I don't know if I have that set up. Let's see. We do. All right, folks. That's it. That's all. I'll see you next time on the Tim Black Show. You know where to find me. Real Tim Black on Facebook, X, and Instagram. I'm even on TikTok right now. I'm still on TikTok. Got about 70,000 people following me on TikTok. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate you. And don't forget, tell a TikTok news person that's an independent news person. Tell them, hey, hit up Tim at TimBlackTV.com. I'm open to having you guys come join us here on the YouTube channel, The Tim Black Show. All right? All right. Yeah, I think that's dope. All right, fam. Like I always say, don't let anybody take your cornbread. That's right. Don't let them do it. Keep your cornbread. And Where are my ladies? Where are my ladies at? Oh, there they go.